Our time in Guam was amazing. A perfect blend of relaxing island vacation, crazy jungle adventure.
I'm actually stuck. Ah!
And quality time with family and friends.
Woo!
If Guam wasn't on your bucket list before this video, hopefully I can show you why you should reconsider. Without further ado, let me take you through our grand 7 days in Guam. Our first day on Guam was pretty laid back. We arrived late the previous day, and because we were 16 hours ahead of where we started, had a little time zone adjusting to do. We decided to take it easy the first day, and so our first stop was at Laddystone Park. It's a small cove tucked away off a main road, actually, but it's all about showcasing the famous Laddystones, which were likely used by the native people as building supports. But also in this stop was one of the shelters used by Japanese military during World War II. Right across the street was our next stop, the Plaza de España. This is where the governor's palace was located during the time the Spanish ruled. And even though most of it was destroyed in World War II, 3 of the main structures are still standing. It's definitely worth a look around, especially after going to Laddystone Park since it's so close by. The area is now mostly a public green space, and it's also the location of some large Guam letters to take your picture next to.
Beautiful.
After those 2 stops, we were pretty hungry, so Gina, Uncle Joe's lovely wife, took us to her cafe that she co-owns with her sister. We actually forgot to take any videos, but it's a fantastic place to get some coffee or tea. We also stopped at the War in the Pacific National Historical Park, and there's not a lot here, but it commemorates the soldiers who participated in the Pacific Theater of World War II. We were all pretty tired after all these different stops, especially from the long travel day, and so we called it there and headed back to Uncle Joe and Aunt Gina's house, which is located on the top of this super beautiful hill. It was actually just an amazing place to stay, and we're super grateful that they let us come. By day 2, we were feeling well and rested, and so we got to some more adventurous activities. And by more adventurous, I mean a lot more adventurous. In the morning, Allison, Gina's daughter, drove up and met us at the house. We ended up driving with her down to her house to pick up some supplies, and wow, was it the literal definition of on the water. Those supplies were for this thing called hash running, which on Guam is especially interesting because you're running through jungle and it's just, constant mud and water and anything they want to throw at you. And so it was super cool. We did not get any videos though because we didn't bring anything valuable with us, but it was amazing. And at the end, there was a special New Year's party with fireworks and the whole shebang. It was awesome. But that's really all we did this day. On day 3, our main activity was to drive around the entire island. A drive, if done without stopping, that can be accomplished in under an hour and a half, even with the island-wide speed limit of 35 miles an hour. This is actually an absolutely beautiful drive. Never-ending views of the crystal blue water, plenty of historical sites along the way, and tons of scenic overlooks. We stopped along the way at a famous, and curiously one of the only beachside restaurants, called Jeff's Pirate Cove, and we ended our journey at a pretty little canal next to one of the 3 power plants on the island. Day 4 was another very eventful day. We did some things in the morning, but nothing too exciting. And in the afternoon, we went to the local yacht club, which hosts a lot of sailboats. Allison has a sailboat there, and she took us out on it. The wind was nice, the air was warm, and overall it just seemed like the best day ever to be on the boat. So about 5 minutes into our ride, we let the sail out to its full length and started rolling through the water. But unfortunately, someone Allison had lent the boat to before had changed out the mechanism that holds the sail down, and because the winds were so high, it snapped the little piece holding the sail off, and suddenly we found ourselves in the middle of the bay, unable to control our boat because we had no sail. So it took about 10 to 15 to 20 minutes of us manually wrangling the sail and almost going out to shore, and then crash landing at a Navy base. Long story short, it was just a crazy adventure. We didn't really get any videos after it started going south, but it was still really cool. Today, we hiked the world's tallest mountain. Wait, what? Let me explain. About 200 miles from Guam is Challenger Deep, which is the deepest known point in the ocean. Now, imagine that there's a giant gradual slope going up from that point in the ocean all the way to the top of Mount Lam Lam in Guam, which is the mountain we were hiking. The tip of a massive submerged mountain is what the peak of that mountain is. It would make it, according to Guam's official website, 37,828 feet, which is undoubtedly the tallest mountain in the world. I wanted to be 100% sure that this was true, though, and so I did a little bit of extra digging. The problem is that treating the underwater geography in that 200 miles of separation between Guam and the Challenger Deep as a big slope is actually kind of far from reality. In between the 2 points are more than a dozen mountain peaks, making up a massive underwater mountain range. It'd be like lumping all the Himalayan mountains together and calling it Mount Everest. Even more, there's a basin, appropriately called the West Mariana Basin, that lies at the western edge of Guam and goes down to 16,027 feet. From that large basin to the depths of the Challenger Deep would be another 16,076 feet, which is just over half of the originally measured height.
It's raining! Woo! But at least we made it to like this flat part.
Oh, great. We're entering another little jungle. This time with thick. Oh, these leaves are so sharp. Don't touch that. Oh my.
Anyway, this was by far the worst hike either of us have ever done. It was only 2.4 miles, but it ended up taking 2.5 hours. The thickest mud we've ever seen, jungle bushwhacking, trail finding, battling the rain, super steep climbs, and uneven. It was extremely slippery, and so it made it incredibly difficult to progress. Eventually, though, we did reach the top, and the views were pretty insane.
Look at there! The most unofficial trail to the most unofficial flags. Let's go!
Made it!
All right, you ready? Highest point on Guam.
And in the world!
And in the world, kind of.
Well, not really in the world. It's not the highest.
Ready?
Whoa, look at the ocean.
Yeah, I wish it was a little clearer. It started raining on us. But yeah, here we go. Highest point. It's been 83 minutes and we've only done 1.44 miles. I don't know if you can see right there. It might be backwards, but here's my feet. Yum. Terrible. But also kind of fun. Notice that there are no trails. It is just solid jungle all the way through.
Literally just walked through the jungle to get up here. Not even kidding. I don't know how many bruises I have and scratches, but we'll find out later.
After the misery, we washed off in the ocean before heading to an unopened climbing gym where I was invited to both test and help set a problem for their gym. It was actually in the back of an indoor badminton complex, which I had never seen before, and was certainly a unique location for a climbing gym. This was one of my favorite days of the whole trip. I loved it. By today, we had just a few more things on our bucket list. First, we went to Fish Eye, which is the business we snorkeled next to earlier in the week. It's a pier that leads to an underwater observatory in the middle of the reef, and even though we had already snorkeled there, it was super cool to get a more casual, close-up view of the fish. And we even saw some sharks.
Fish eye, going to the fish eye, gonna see the fishies swimming all around.
Cool. And Mini Dory.
Baby Dory. It's Marlin and Dory.
Those aren't the ones that catch things.
They just look like they're just swimming around. So bright. I fell into a crab hole.
In the evening, we went to the Chamorro Village, which is only open on Wednesday nights. It was like an American fair with funnel cakes, food, and animals all over the place. We got some Chamorro chicken and beef skewers and some tasty desserts. We walked back to Gina's Cafe, which is right across the street, and we ate all together as a family. Super nice. All right, our last day. Our flight didn't leave until 7 p.m., so we had a little time to kill before we said our goodbyes. We stopped by this super cool shop. It's like a drive-through coffee shop called Slingshot Coffee. It's all over the island, but it was really cool how well-designed and themed it was. All the drinks were pretty good too. From there, we walked around some of the big malls, and we went into an aquarium called Underwater World to marvel one last time at the amazing marine life surrounding Guam. And that about does it. I hope you enjoyed.